All right, Robert, Real Estate Chat has discovered another solution to the housing supply problem again, like a couple
Oh,
of
good.
episodes ago.
Thank you. Thank goodness. Who
Yeah,
brought it this time?
it seems a couple of our episodes now have been solving this problem of housing supply issues, and that is the government's giving money to one of the cities, towns,
Yeah, City of London.
City of London, to build houses. So on this episode of Real Estate Chat with
Johnny Perez.
and Robert Eid, we're going to talk about, is this going to revolutionize and solve the problem of housing, or is it too little, too late, or as Robert likes to put it, noise, too much noise for what?
Well, big announcement, no effect.
Big announcement, no effect. So let's jump to this National Post, where we see this photo of our Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau, and the article. Trudeau announced his first agreement with London, Ontario under new housing funds. So for those of you who have subscribed to Real Estate Chat, and maybe some of you have voted for our current Prime Minister, it took nearly 18 months for the federal government to conclude its first agreement with the city through the $4 billion Housing Accelerator Fund, which first appeared in the 2022 federal budget. And out of that, what, $4 billion? Housing Accelerator Fund, 74 million. That's right, 74 million.
Taste. Yeah, it's the first little taste.
Yeah, a little bit of it. Yeah. So after all this time, 74 million is now going to fast track over 2,000 additional housing units within 3 years and thousands more over the next several years. So basically,
keep going the next paragraph. The next paragraph's the beauty.
This one here?
Yeah.
High density. So as part of this agreement with the federal government, the City of London will allow for high density development without the need for rezoning, and will also allow up to 4 units to be built on a single property in low density neighborhoods. Robert, that sounds a bit familiar before. And for our Real Estate Chat viewers, we're going to include this article in there. There's a lot of stuff in this article that you can get, basically talking about this accelerator fund, the timing. There's a little bit of a jab at him as well, because but anyway, we'll leave that for those of you who actually take the time to read this article. But Robert, will this fix everything, or is it too little too late?
Well, it's too little too late. But what the federal government, after saying that it's not a federal responsibility, is now trying to throw money at a problem. And if you look at the Canada.ca site and look at the Accelerator Housing Fund that they've announced a long time ago, and if you have a Aboriginal group or something or other, you can apply for it. If you're a municipality, you can apply for it. So London, they've concluded an arrangement for a very small amount, and they're going to throw money at something or other. Now, if they're going to change the rules on rezoning, where you can do whatever you want, no matter what the existing zoning is, that's not going to fly. It's just noise. And if they say you can put 4 houses next door to you, that's not going to fly. You bought that property with the knowledge that it could only have one property on it. Now, the good part about having the next door neighbor have 4 properties on it is you can do the same thing. And so someone will buy your house, your land, for redevelopment at much more than they would ever for a single family dwelling. And you just move, you move to distant Mississauga, you move to Milton, you move to Cambridge, you move somewhere else with this newfound windfall, because they're going to destroy the existing downtown and nice neighborhoods downtown to make more units and increase the density.
Well, so wait a minute, Robert. So in Toronto, we're talking about this because of the garden suites and like all other suites you can put into your lot. But this is London we're talking about. So basically,
well, London is just a small version of the same thing. London is the small Ottawa.
Oh, so but there are now
town. It's the same housing costs, the same housing construction are there, the same old neighborhoods are there, the same century homes that are there. Everything is there. It's exactly the same. So it's a prototype that they're going to try it in London with their $74 million, which was like 75 houses in Toronto. And so maybe it's 150 houses in London, but it's not going to work, because London will not put up with these changes. So if London municipally won't put up with the changes, how is the federal government going to impose upon them? And they're going to eventually come around to say to Rob Ford, well, you know, this land you tied up that's right adjoining to the city that already has houses built right next to it. How about you free up some of that green belt? And they're going, oh, we can't do that. And they say, yes, you can, because it's the best of all the available options. He's gone through terrible and did it terribly too. But this green belt is also strangling Toronto. Okay, that we know to take care of the salamanders. We know to take care of the watersheds. We don't do the same things that we did in 1960 and in 1860 when they filled in rivers. Garrison Creek, they just filled in, built over top of it. There's all kinds of things you just don't do anymore. So tossing out all the rules, well, maybe you're going to have to, but not this way.
Well, this is going to be a time will tell whether or not between the Toronto's announcement by Mayor Olivia Chow, now this announcement with 2,000 additional units, as you said, in a place where it's not going to cost as much units as it is to build in Toronto. And of course, our previous episode, for those of you who've watched, talking about the unaffordability of the city of Toronto. But Robert, going back to your example of, once people start moving out of that place because now there's 4 units and then the neighbors are doing it and all that, wouldn't that just all of a sudden raise the demand for places where that kind of use is restricted? So in places where you can't build garden suites and all that. So really they're just shifting, they're creating they're providing a solution for affordability in one place, but now the ones that I want my detached home and I want to be the only unit in there is going to start raising prices in other places.
Okay. Well, this is where the free enterprise system finds its own level. That there's all kinds of restrictions on land all across Ontario. I don't know anything else except for Ontario, where you could do a lot of things if those rules weren't in place. But you don't want this to become Houston, where you can put a factory next to a bowling alley and you can put a house next to that, where there's no zoning. We have a certain amount of order, and people like the order that has risen up. But you can't develop land the way you used to, but you can't develop land the way they tried to with a 45-foot height bylaw. Remember that? David Crombie, the green nutso, before they even knew that they were being green. And this green belt, Dalton McGuinty and what's her name were influenced by these same 2 idiots that are influencing Trudeau Jr. And they are, well, they're green fanatics from the I don't even know where they're from.
Well, we'll see
but the thing with the city has no money, but they're going to spend all this money for 25,000. The province doesn't have any money, but they're going to spend all this money. But now interest rates have gone up, so the public debt charges are now a disproportionate share of their budget, which they thought they had under control when rates were 2% because they were borrowing it for virtually nothing. And the federal government has no money. So who's going to spend all this money? Only the private sector can do it. Only the private sector can do it, but they can't do it under the existing framework of red tape, control, regulation, and restriction that currently exists. So it's a catharsis. It's a catharsis where people have to say, you know what, we're not doing it that way anymore. And once people have permission to think clearly, they'll say, well, why not? Why not? Why does everything have to be on a rail line and 15 stories up? I don't want to live in a high rise.
Well, City of London Real Estate Chat viewers, chime into the comments. Do you like what's happening? Do you think this will help your city? Do you think this is not going to help? Let us know. And everybody else, thank you for watching this episode of Real Estate Chat. Let us know what you think about this Housing Accelerator billions of dollars fund. Thanks for watching. Take care and bye for now.
It is a great day for Real Estate Chat.